consider God's word this morning, let's turn to God in prayer. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your word that's described as being sharper than a two-edged sword. Help us to be open to hear your voice today and ready to respond as we seek you now in Jesus' name. Amen. As I said right at the beginning of the service, it's a great joy and privilege for me to be with you all this morning on this very special day. The Bible is a tremendous book with so much teaching within it, and you can imagine the challenge to find a passage that would somehow be appropriate for this morning. And having read and thought about different subjects, I felt led to this passage that we had in Romans 12. I think it's a very appropriate one at the start of Louise's ministry. The title I've picked for today's sermon message is What to Hold On To in Life. What's the important things to hold on to in life? And in times of change and new beginnings, as Louise gets ready to move the family, new schools for the children, and all the things surrounding that, there's things that you want to hold on to and not let go of. And that's the same for all of us, isn't it? The things that we want to hold on to in life. And when we think about that, you'll not be surprised that in our passage, verses 9 to 21 are headed in some of the Bibles. I think it is in the Good News and other ones, the heading is one word, love. That's the one word for that passage that Ian read to us this morning. One word, love. Very important word. And it's at the centre of the Christian faith. And that's really something we need to hold on to in our life. It has to be the centre of our own lives. Romans 12, the whole chapter is used by Alpha in respect of the last part of the Alpha course when it says, how can I make the most of the rest of my life? For any who don't know, Alpha is a course which is set out to ask questions, invite people to make a journey. Who is Jesus? Why did he die? How can I be sure of our faith? Why should I pray? Does God heal today? All different questions. And in that process, many people have made a contact with Jesus, have discovered Jesus to be real in their lives. And so it's natural then to say, well, where do I go from here? And the last talk is, how can I make the most of the rest of my life? And that's based completely on Romans 12. As we think about this, the key word again for me, along with love, is the word relationships. And that's going to be something that we're thinking about this morning, because I believe they're vital for each one of us, the relationships we have. Because God himself created us for relationships. Genesis 2, right back in the Old Testament, Genesis 2:18, the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him. So God did not intend us to be solo, not connecting with anybody else. Adam in the beginning, Eve was added, and then things flourished from there. God did not intend us to be alone. His desire is that we connect with each other. And today I'd like us to think about the important place of relationships in our lives. In Romans 12, in the first two verses, Paul, who wrote this letter to the church in Rome, focuses on the importance of our relationship with God. That's key. God first, and then the others can follow on from that. So Paul picks up in that in the first few verses, and then in verse 3 to 8, he goes on to think about our relationship with ourselves. And it might be you don't think you have a relationship with yourself, but in actual fact, Paul is highlighting that we have to value ourselves. In order to be effective in connecting with others, we have to see how precious we are and recognise how much God loves us, and then the love flows out. So that is important as well. But again, we're not looking at that today. We'll move on to verses 9 to 21. Which we have read to us today by Ian, which covers two areas. It speaks about our relationship with one another, and also it speaks about our relationship with our enemies. That's quite a thought, isn't it? People that we don't get on with, and we're meant to have relationships with them, says Paul. So we'll see a bit more about that as we work our way through these verses. So 9-16 is a relationship to one another. Love in the family of God. Paul sees love as central in the life of the Christian community. Some writers have suggested that these verses are a kind of rag bag of miscellaneous instructions with little connection to each other at all. But in fact, when we look closely, we find 12 components for Paul's recipe of love. We talk so much about cooking, it's on the telly all the time now. And here Paul's saying these are the ingredients you need to have a family of God that is effective. A recipe of love. How can we give out love and how can we receive love? They all flow into each other. Things to hold on to. We need to work and develop our relationships. It doesn't always happen naturally. So it's a challenge for all of us. Let's quickly go through that list that Paul sets out in his recipe of love. Sincerity, verse 9. Love what is sincere. The Greek word for that word sincere, is without hypocrisy. And yet so many times people point to the church and point to people in the church and they say, look at these hypocrites. They don't follow what they're saying. They say one thing and they behave in a different way. Love what is sincere. Be genuine. Have no place for hypocrisy. And be open and honest with each other. You know, often we'll say to somebody, how are you today? We'll say, fine, and they're inside. And desperate to speak to somebody, but they're not sure if it's safe to do it. So hypocrisy has to be taken away. Sincerity, says Paul, is key. Discernment. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. It may seem strange that love is followed by the word hate, and yet we have a clear picture of loathing the one which is offensive to God, evil, and clinging to the other, which is pleasing to God, good. We need to be wise in the choices that we make. Affection. Verse 10 says this, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. And certainly coming into church here and being here on Thursday night, there is a real sense of love here. Praise God for that. May it continue, may it grow. Affection, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Honour, the second part of verse 10. Honour one another above yourselves. That's always a big challenge, isn't it? Putting others first. Because we live in a world which says we want to do it our way. Like Sinatra sang, I did it my way. And in some ways you might think, well, that's all about self. But for followers of Jesus, we are called to put others first, which turns the world way upside down. Jesus himself taught in that way. Honour one another above yourselves. Then there's enthusiasm. Verse 11, never be lacking in zeal. That's an old word, isn't it? Even as Ian was reading it out today, I thought, yeah, you don't hear it often. It's excitement, it's enthusiasm, but keep your spiritual fervour serving the Lord. Our initial experience of encountering Jesus and coming into a relationship with Him is something that's meant to last and not peter out. So often people are on fire for God, and then somehow you meet them again and the flame's been dampened. And that fervour and that zeal somehow has got lost. And it's not dependent on the circumstances that we have in our life. It comes from God's Spirit within us. I was reading, I thought it'd be worth sharing with you, a quote from Richard Wormbrand. This was a man who was imprisoned in Romania for 14 years in 1948 during the communist rule. It wasn't a pleasant experience. He was tortured because of his faith that he would not deny. And this is what he's quoted as saying: alone in my cell, cold, hungry and in rags. That's his circumstances. I danced for joy every night. Sometimes I was so filled with joy that I felt my heart would burst if I did not give it expression. You see, this man was filled with God's Spirit, and despite the circumstances he found himself in, God was giving him joy. And in many ways, we need to press into God so that we have that same sense of joy and that awareness that God is with us. So in other words, the longer we are followers of Jesus, the more enthusiastic we should be, not the other way around. Now, Paul then goes on to speak about harmonious relationships, and he speaks again about a list that I just want to run through to allow you to kind of think that maybe some of these areas might be ones that you struggle on. I know I do. And just a reminder here that, again, it's not about trying harder. It's about pressing into God and saying, help me. I know that I'm not. The first one's patience, for example. And some of us might not be very patient. You know, God, help me. Help me to be patient and not lose it. Help me to listen before I speak. So the list reads like this: patience in verse 12. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Generosity, share with God's people who are in need. Hospitality, practice hospitality. And that's what we've seen in the halls the other night, and that's a team that works hard to share. And it's great hospitality, isn't it? And it doesn't need to just be at the end of a service. You can say to somebody, do you fancy coming for dinner? And that might mean so much to somebody. And you know, that's you following the way that God would want you to be. That might be something that you're gifted in. And just inviting somebody to come and make them feel welcome can make such a difference. We don't think of these things, but it's so important. Practice hospitality. Goodwill, bless those who persecute you, bless and do not curse. Sympathy in verse 15, rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. Harmony, live in harmony with one another. And finally, humility, something that we're all called to. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. So important that anyone who walks in this door to be part, or even just to come along to church one Sunday, that they're looked at with love and received and welcomed, no matter who they are or where they're from. The call is to be a place of welcoming and a place where nobody is judged, but they can come with confidence. So that's it. That's quite a challenge Paul set out to the believers in Rome, and he sets that same challenge to us today. It's demanding, but let me declare this morning it's worth it. What a difference it makes. So we've got a picture from Paul about Christian love, which helps us to show the world around us that being a follower of Jesus makes a difference in our life. And being part of God's family is a safe place to be. There's not many safe places where you can relax and feel like you're not under persecution or attack. but coming into God's house and sharing with God's people. And yes, even during the week and perhaps in home groups or prayer times, sharing with one another and building the family up. But Paul doesn't just stop there. He goes on to challenge us in respect of our relationship to our enemies. That's the one I said we would come to later. Though, enemies is quite a strong word, but perhaps people that we struggle to get on with. And what he says is not retaliation. If somebody does us wrong, we get our own back and a little bit more. But service. Serve them. Do something nice to them. Confuse them. Quite a picture, isn't it? This challenge to hold on to our difficult relationships, it's not an easy one. But again, it's worth it if we're willing to do it. When we are touched with the depth of God's mercy for us, and all that He, despite all our faults, He loves us. And the Bible makes that clear. When we fully grasp that, then, what else could we do? But extend that same love to others. Yes, even those that make our lives difficult. Paul tells the believers in verse 14, bless and do not curse. Paul is echoing the words of Jesus here, who told us to bless those who curse us, and also to pray for them and to do good to them. As I say, turning the world way right in its head and saying there's another way to behave. Verse 17, instead of doing evil, be careful to do what is right in the eyes of the day. And again, that just reminds us, people are watching us when we make a declaration, and we might be talking in the office or with family, where we in Sunday church. Great. And then folks start to say, well, let's see how a Christian behaves. And we're not going to get it right and perfect all the time, but we need to be aware that we are witnesses for Jesus. And we're called to be different, actually not the same. That can be a challenge, because the best thing everybody wants is just to fit in and not be different in any way. But being a follower of Jesus can mean times to say no, can mean times when we have to be wise in the words that we use and how we talk, because people very quickly will recognise that. At the same time, they'll recognise it when we show love. And it can well be that people that we maybe just don't know that well, but they'll come to us and say, could you help me? I'm worried about this. You go to church. You believe in God. I'm in a situation just now that I can't cope with. So it's a case of witnessing for Christ and then being ready when the call comes. Instead of doing evil, be careful to do what is right in everybody's eyes. Verse 19, do not take revenge, but leave room for God's wrath. In other words, leave it up to God. We think, that wasn't fair, that wasn't right, I want to get going back. But remember, God is our final judge. And we can leave it safely in His hands. He knows the way to, how to deal with each situation. And if we just simply trust Him and keep serving Him, then I believe that's the best solution altogether. Paul goes on to say that if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. It's like going the extra mile. Not just saying, I won't let him hurt me. Actually saying, can I do anything for you? Can I help you? How confusing that would be for anybody to hear that. And then it finally says in verse 21, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Paul's saying it's not good to retaliate, because if we repay evil for evil, we're actually doubling it. We're actually increasing the evil that's around, adding a second evil to the first. And this leads to a downward spiral, because it's I get my own back, you get your own back to me, and so it goes down and down and down. Paul says, don't retaliate, but even better than that, Be positive, bless and do good, and seek peace, and serve our enemy. Because the interesting thing is, if we repay good for evil, we reduce the tally of evil in the world, while increasing the tally of good. To repay evil for evil is to be overcome by evil. Evil wins the victory, you might say. But to repay good for evil is to overcome evil with good. That's a challenge, isn't it, for all of us? To think how we respond and how we might be able to do it in God's way. You see, that was the way of the cross. We've seen it, we've read it in the Bible. Jesus crucified, mocked, spat on. How did he respond with love? Even in the crosses, as he was nailed to the cross, Jesus said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Jesus set the example, and he wants us to follow his example. So the challenge for us today is to be able to hold on to our relationships, value them, and develop new ones. That's again what I felt on Thursday night. There was that great sense of people being made welcome, setting up new friendships and relationships. And I believe what a difference that will make in our lives and the life and witness of this church if you continue building on what's already happened here. So often the temptation is to take our relationships for granted instead of appreciating the ones we have. And yes, there's even times when folks say, I've had enough. I'm just going to let go. I'm just going to move on when things don't go well. But surely these relationships are for the hard times as well as the good times. Persevere and allow healing to come into any broken relationship. Because we heard what happens from Psalm 133. Again, he read that earlier. It says, when brothers and sisters dwell in unity, there the Lord pours out his blessing. United, working together, God pours out his blessing. And I would want to stand here this morning and say, I've seen that so many times in my Christian walk. Churches working together. Again, I go back to Thursday night. The churches were different churches represented here, different congregations. You didn't know who was from where, but that didn't matter. There was a real sense of unity and a real sense of purpose. And I think that augurs so well for the future of this community and the wider community in Midlothian. Churches together, where brothers and sisters dwell in unity, there the Lord pours out his blessing. Did you sense God's blessing on Thursday night when we were all gathered together? That warmth within, that sense of being part of something bigger. That's the blessing of God that can be built upon. So I would want to say, it's time, and I believe it's happening already, but it's time for believers, Christian followers of Jesus, to stand up and stand out within their communities. For in doing so, we can point to Jesus. We can say it's not about us, but it's about him and the difference he's made in my life. We can show people there is another way, because when we look at the world and we see the state that it's in at the moment, pure chaos in so many parts, politics and all the other different things that are going on. And I think there's a place for a Christian voice to say there's another way, the way of love, God's way, the way of Jesus Christ. And the hard thing to believe, I think, for many of us is that despite all our weaknesses, despite all our inabilities, God says, I can use you. I can use you and you as well. He can use each one of us. I'm sure Louise felt as she stood on Thursday night, gosh, what am I doing here? And yet, God has said, I can use you. I can use you and I can use the people in this church. And Louise has responded to that call. And in some way that call was made to everybody, wasn't it, on Thursday, to stand and say, we're we're here and we're ready to serve. And that was exciting to be there, to hear that declaration and that thank you and that yes from the congregation. So I believe there is an exciting future ahead for Bonnyrigg Parish Church. I'm delighted that Louise has been called to this church. I believe she will serve with all that God can do through her. She will give, along with the family, what God calls them to do. And I really do sense that the congregation here are ready and willing to step out beside her and make this journey. Louise was talking about all the different parts earlier, all different gifts here. Looking out now, there's so many different gifts in this congregation. And when they're all put together, God says, well, that's my body of people working. So it's an exciting day. It's been a great joy and privilege for me to be part of this day and to preach Louise into a new position here. And I'm excited to hear how things develop. So much more to come. This is only the beginning. Thursday night was exciting. Today is the start of the journey. And it's, where is it going to take you? Who knows? God does. And if you walk hand in hand with Him, there's nothing to fear. And you can make a difference in this community. And remember, all that you're doing is for God's glory. He is the one that calls you, but He is the one that is working. Amen. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you for your faithfulness. Thank you for Paul writing to the church all these years ago. And the church, so much in need of these instructions. And yet these men and women were faithful. And the church held firm. And the church grew. And today we've got so many churches in different communities. And we thank you for this community here at Bonnyrigg. And we do pray we would hear the word today to love, to have relationships that care about each other, and then to reach out with that love to those who don't know yet about Jesus, to those who are perhaps living in fear, perhaps overcome by circumstances around them, and yet there is hope in Jesus. So Lord, equip each one gathered here for that call and for that service. And may all be done in the name of our Saviour, Jesus Christ, in whose name we now pray. Amen.